Hey folks, I'm back. Welcome again to Many of My Talks, one of many of my talks, and did you see that? See how I freestyled there? That was for you guys out there. A little bit of entertainment. So guys, back on track, back on what I want to say to you guys out there. Today I want to talk to you guys. Oh yeah, sorry about this. What's up? What's happening? Hope you guys are cool. I hope guys everything is alright. I don't know why for some strange reason the words ain't flourishing or flowing in today's talk, but you know what? At the end of the day, I'm gonna get back on track. I'm gonna get back on point, and I'm gonna convey my message to you guys before I leave this session, this talking session to you guys. Now, let me tell you something. I want to narrate a story to you, something that happened to me, and I want to share this experience with you because I think it's wonderful that it happened, and I think it's wonderful because it will be very enlightening to your lives. Those who are parents know how hard it is to feed and raise children. Now, I'm going to give you my perspective, my experience in what happened to me. I'm going to share a story with you. It's kind of funny, and I've called it Adding Fire to the Fuel. Check this out. One day, my son, it was me and my son, and I was feeding him, and he was acting up, and he was doing all sorts of things, and it came to a point where I was literally force feeding him, but still, because he's growing and he's getting his strength intact, he's all resisting and he's doing all sorts of things. That he's turning his face, he's kicking, he's shouting, he's screaming, and he's crying because he doesn't want to be fed. Children at a young age find it such a chore to be fed. You got to entertain them, and you got to keep on entertaining them, and even that entertainment takes up a whole load of energy. Just feeding them takes a whole load of energy. Now let me tell you something, guys out there. So what happened is I kept on trying to feed him, and he was just resisting so much, to the point where I really started to get frustrated. I really started to get angry, and I got really upset, and I had to go at him, and I took it out on him, and I've done all sorts of stuff to him. But I just lost the plot. That day I was really frustrated, and then what happened is my wife came in and she said, "What's the matter, love?" And then I just had to go at her. I said, "No, you know what? He's all acting up, he's playing up, and it's such a hard thing that you want me to feed him, and he's already been fed a couple of hours ago, and you still want me to stuff his face." First and foremost, I'm going to give you guys a quick little background in our culture. What happens is, when a child is undernourished, meaning that he's not eating regularly and he's not being fed on a regular basis, it's easy for them to say, "Your son or your child is very small, it's underweight, what's wrong?" And the parents tend to get the blame, and it's all of a sudden a big guilt trip upon the parents to raise their children and make them big at such a young age. We're not actually allowing them to grow at their own pace. This is our culture. This is what it's about, where they want to feed them so much so they can grow so quick, but it has its consequences. But anyway, so that I was on the opinion where, no, listen, I would prefer to feed him much later, because the more I prolong his feed, the more hungry he gets, and the more easy it is to feed. Whilst my wife had the opinion of where he needs to be fed regularly. If he's fed regularly, first of all, it's going to be a bore, it's going to be a chore, it's going to be very hard to feed him because he needs distractions, he needs entertainment, and that takes up a whole load of energy. So therefore, I was very frustrated, and I took it out on my wife. I said, "No, listen, I can't have this," and you know, it just got too much. But you know what? My wife could have yelled back at me. She could have shouted, and she could have definitely swore. But you know what she didn't? She actually allowed me to vent out my frustration. I didn't take it out on her. I didn't say, "Oh, it's all your fault, X, Y, Z," or whatever. No. I just told her how I felt. I'm frustrated, I'm tired, and he's taking out so much energy in me. She understood this, and you know what happened? She was silent, and I was able to just communicate. And the fact of the matter was, because she allowed me to express myself, and at the same time I didn't abuse her, I didn't shout at her any abuse, but I just told her how I felt, but it was in a loud tone. But it wasn't really directed at her. I just need to vent out my frustration. So she understood that. And you know what happened at the end? When she gave me that bit of space, that she gave me that bit of time, and just allowed me to express my feelings, I ended up being more drawn and being more attracted to her, because of the fact that she just allowed me, because of the fact that she didn't add fire to the fuel, because it could have been a nasty bust up. But because she used tact, it worked in her favour, and it worked in our favour, and then all of a sudden that we came together, we regrouped, and we looked for a better way of tackling the situation and feeding my son. We actually take it in turns, and whenever it gets difficult on one of us, the other one takes over. And we look for different tactics, and it's all about trial and error, trying to look for things that work, things that don't, cut out the things that don't, and just stick with the things that do. As you can hear, you might be able to hear my son in the background. He's kicking up all sorts of noise. But anyway, that is the challenge. These are challenges of parenthood. Now, I'll tell you what, back to the adding fire to the fuel. This is what I'm saying, because in relationships, you can easily make things worse. You can easily cause a big bust up, a big argument, depending on how much input that you put in to the time when one of you guys are upset. Because usually, we tend to take things out on each other. You know what? There's a difference between taking things out on each other or just venting out your frustration, but not directly at the person. The difference is, you're not saying, it's all your fault, and you're such and such, and you're this way, da 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 da. There's a big difference between that, which is very directive, or, I've had enough, this is too much, can't take it anymore. You see the big difference? There's a difference between the two, and because there's a big difference between the two, the outcome is different. You can either get a positive outcome or a negative outcome. You can have your partner being compassionate and merciful to you, depending on if you vent out your frustrations but not on them, you'll get support. But if it's vented and taken out on them, you won't get support at all. This is what I mean by adding fuel to the fire, my friend. Be mindful about what you do. Be mindful about how you go on about things with each other. Work together, not against each other. That is the gist. That is my message that I want to leave with you guys today. Don't add fire to the fuel, especially if one of you is just heated up. Now, check this out. The best thing to adopt is silence and allow the other one to speak. But don't react. Try and understand where they're coming from. Not just listen and allow them to speak, but also understand their pain. Feel what they're feeling and be merciful, be compassionate towards them. And trust me, you will have a lot of support behind you. And that's what it's about. That's what the family unit is about. It's about coming together when you guys are flocked. It's about working together when you guys are flocked. How do you regroup? How do you come together? That is how you don't add fire to the fuel. My friends, I'm going to leave you with that. Something to think about. Something to take heed. So, as I say, until then, take care, stay strong, stay focused, and always live to learn to empower and inspire the lives of many, as well as yourself. Bye for now.